episode of Ashoka.
I had promised you that I would kill just about anyone who would harm her in any way. Today is the last day of your life, Kandisar.
What are you doing? In order to face the enemy, Magad needs all its sons. And only Sushim can bring Ashok back.
You have lost today, Chanakya. Magad has lost today.
Coronavirus disease is now spreading within counties in Kenya, from person to person through contact with droplets when an infected person speaks, coughs or sneezes, or through touching contaminated surfaces and objects. Anybody with a weakened body immunity has a greater risk of contracting coronavirus disease. People living with pre-existing medical conditions such as HIV, cancer, TB, diabetes among others must adhere to their treatments to strengthen immunity and therefore should ensure they have a constant supply of necessary medicines. Contact your clinic or health facility for information on how to access treatment. Help others within your network to access adequate supply of essential medicines. Ensure that you remain connected with your local networks for any support and follow the medical guidelines provided by your health facility to prevent coronavirus. Remember to stay updated with information on coronavirus using only trusted reliable channels. For more information on COVID-19, call 719 or dial *719#. COVID-19 is preventable. Protect yourself, your family, and the community. This message has been brought to you by the Government of Kenya and its partners.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Channel 1 News Hour this Tuesday, the 13th of April 2021. Indeed, we begin this broadcast on a very positive note, a medical milestone. It was on this day that the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital did announce removing a huge growth, as you can see, from a woman who came from Bungoma County. Beatrice Makoha is her name, and of course this lady, as you can see, this is what the experts are doing. But from the previous photo that we had, she had a huge growth covering her face and the frontal sinuses and also the frontal bones. And you can imagine how heavy it was for her. And the doctors had reported that she had visited so many hospitals before being referred from Bungoma Referral Hospital to Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. A team of experts led by Dr. Thuku right there doing the surgery. And after hours of this procedure, she came out. It was a success. There you go. And the doctors, there you go. She is now relieved. And of course, after a few days, doctors are saying they will be able to discharge her. And the team, the multidisciplinary team, did report once again that this growth had a fluid of about 3 liters of dermoid fluid. And you can imagine what that is. And normally this operation could have costed over 500,000 Kenya shillings, but this was done at free of charge, and it's a medical milestone we are celebrating. This is how she looked, and she had visited so many hospitals for this. Bungoma Hospital was the last hospital before she was referred to Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. And once again, after hours of the procedure by the team led by Dr. Thuku, of course, his expertise of maxillofacial surgeon, she was able to successfully, or they were able to successfully remove this cystic growth, a medical milestone we celebrate tonight. And of course, this tells you that you really do not have to travel outside the country to get some of these services. In 2016, we saw another milestone where doctors at Kenyatta National Hospital did separate conjoined twins. And of course, those twins who had been born conjoined in 2014 went home happy, and the family went home happy, and they are now happy and leading a normal life. We still have much more coming up shortly, including the COVID-19 curve that does not look so good. We still are at 15.4% positivity rate. Let's have a look at more stories making headlines tonight. A new dawn for county governments as Senate approves the largest ever allocation of equitable share of 370 billion shillings.
Would be able to be an intellectual leader. But beyond that, I am also a person who has extensive experience in leading.
Finding the next Chief Justice, law professor with a 30 years plus career in academia, Patricia Kameri Mbote appears before the Judicial Service Commission interviewing panel. And Muslims around the world begin observing the holy month of Ramadan under tight restrictions for the second consecutive year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Good evening. Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Purity Museo, and Anne Wangeshi is our sign language interpreter tonight at Purity_Museo on Twitter and at KBC Channel 1, the hashtag Channel 1 News Hour. You can interact with us. We are also live on Facebook and YouTube and all other social media platforms. Let's get started. County governments are set to receive for the first time the largest allocation in the county equitable share after the Senate passed the Division of Revenue bill. In a special sitting on Tuesday, senators adopted amendments proposed in a report of the Finance and Budget Committee that will see counties' share raised by the whopping 53.5 billion shillings to 370 billion shillings. Last year, the Senate was at a crossroad over the revenue allocation formula that would have seen some counties gaining and others losing resources before they settled on a win-win formula. Right, we'll be getting that report in a short while. Meanwhile, the search for the country's next Chief Justice entered the second day, with law professor Patricia Kameri Mbote appearing before the interviewing panel. Professor Mbote, who has spent over 3 decades in academia, was hard-pressed to explain her suitability for the post given her lack of experience as a practicing lawyer or judge. As Ben Chumba reports, the 58-year-old professor and senior counsel said she will leverage rather on her networks in the academia world to tackle the issues of underfunding of the Judicial Service Commission, which she claims has hindered training judicial staff.
What unique leadership qualities will you bring as a CJ if you are successful?
On Tuesday, law professor Patricia Kameri Mbote faced the Judicial Service Commission for vetting for the prestigious post of Chief Justice of Kenya.
You don't have that jurisprudential skills, but you are intellectual.
But as Professor Mbote will find out during the interview, securing the position will not be easy, as the 9-member panel put her on tight spot to explain how her over 30 years experience in the academia will be beneficial to the judiciary.
I would be able to be an intellectual leader. But beyond that, I am also a person who has extensive experience in leading diverse teams. The practice of law is not really just about going to court. I probably have a lot more practice of law and practice within the judiciary.
Given her lack of experience as practicing lawyer or judge, the commissioners were much interested to understand how the professor at the University of Nairobi School of Law intends to steer the country's top court and the judiciary as a whole if appointed as the next Chief Justice.
But I haven't worked in the judiciary, that is what you're saying. But I'm not going to be the first person that came into the Supreme Court that had not been in the judiciary. And I think if the others have learned, I can learn.
Professor Mbote was tasked to demonstrate how she intends to solve the 2/3 gender rule quagmire, increasing backlog of cases in courts, as well as the disobedience of court orders, especially by other arms of government.
I would have a process of even whistleblowers who then enable us to get people who are engaged in the vice. And I believe once you get one and you handle them firmly, then you will have removed the rotten egg, if you like.
The interview also scrutinized the professor's career journey, with the panelists seeking to know why she opted to start a competing law school at Strathmore University immediately after she failed to secure position of dean at the University of Nairobi.
I was young and restless then. I was in my 40s. I am now headed to 60.
Because if it was a business, you would have been fired on the spot.
Even in leaving, though I said I was restless, I was within my rights to leave. You can take unpaid leave.
Don't you think it was unethical? Don't you think it was not good to do that?
What I did was unusual. Starting competition was not usual. So, Chief Justice, I have become a lot more less restless.
I hear you.
Professor Mbote, who is the second of 10 candidates to be interviewed, was also hard-pressed to give her position on the Building Bridges Initiative document and whether her involvement in the process would affect her position as Chief Justice.
I did not write this document. I have engaged in the BBI in looking at how it affects certain constitutional provisions as a scholar. And I am currently advising Parliament on the proposed amendment.
On Wednesday, Lady Justice Martha Koome, who is currently serving in the Court of Appeal in Nairobi, will face the panel chaired by Professor Olive Mugenda. Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria has been fined 75,000 Kenya shillings for flouting COVID-19 containment measures. The lawmaker was arrested alongside 29 other suspects after they were found merrymaking in Kiambaa past curfew hours. The legislator rather pleaded guilty to the charges.
Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria and his co-accused were arraigned before Chief Magistrate Stella Adambo on Tuesday, where they pleaded guilty to breaking COVID-19 containment measures.
They will never do it again going forward. And definitely, if you are to exercise your discretion and give them an unconditional discharge, they give a personal pledge that this will be the last time you'll ever see them appearing before the court being arraigned in respect to this kind of charges.
The legislator and his co-accused were fined 75,000 Kenya shilling each, or a 6-month imprisonment.
15,000 each in this 8 months imprisonment. Exhibits number 1 to 4 will be submitted to the state. These sentences run consecutively, and anybody who is aggrieved by the state has a right of appeal of 14 days.
The government has in recent days reiterated that no one will be spared if found to have flouted the COVID-19 containment measures. Elsewhere, police carried out a crackdown in Nanyuki town, arresting all those flouting COVID-19 measures a day after Laikipia County government said it is under immense pressure to deal with the rising COVID-19 patients.
COVID-19 cases imeenda juu kuliko hata diseases. Ndio sababu leo tumeform hii kamati na waanze hiyo kazi mpaka siku ile ambayo tunaona tumepata majibu ama tuone kwamba tumereduce the impact of COVID-19 cases.
Led by OCPD John Tarus and Deputy County Commissioner Esther Mwamure, the officers raided various places in town where they arrested over 50 people.
Mtu mwenye atapatikana hana mask na hata mwenye ambaye ameivaa vibaya tutamchukulia hatua. Koti iko wazi. Tunataka kuambia saa hii tukiwashika munakuja mnakuwa booked na munaenda kotini.
Laikipia County has so far recorded 2,010 COVID-19 cases, out of which 249 were recorded in the last 10 days.
On to the COVID-19 daily update. 991 more people have tested positive for the novel coronavirus in the last 24 hours from 6,417 samples screened, bringing the infections rate to 15.4%. The Minister of Health has also announced 26 fatalities from the disease, clarifying 1 death occurred within 24 hours, while the rest within the last 1 month. The youngest patient in the 991 new coronavirus infections reported in the last 24 hours is a 7-month-old infant, while the oldest is 99 years. The total number of infections in Kenya since March last year now stands at 147,147, with 1,571,244 cumulative tests conducted so far. 26 COVID-19 related deaths were also recorded, 1 reported between Monday and Tuesday, while 25 patients succumbed on diverse dates in the last 1 month. The death toll currently stands at 2,394. 370 patients have recovered from the disease, 124 from home-based and isolation care, while 156 from various health facilities. Kenya has so far vaccinated 526,026 people with the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. Meanwhile, U.S. health authorities are calling for a pause in the use of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine after reports of extremely rare blood clotting cases. The Food and Drug Administration, FDA, said it was acting out of an abundance of caution. It is said 6 cases of severe blood clotting had been detected in more than 6.8 million doses of the vaccine. The recommendation follows similar rare cases in the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, which has prompted some restrictions in its use. In the meantime, Indian regulators have approved the use of the Russian Sputnik 5 COVID-19 vaccine. Through its official Twitter account, Sputnik 5 announced that India, the world's second most populous nation, became the 60th country to register Sputnik 5 vaccine after positive results of local phase 3 clinical study. It is the 3rd coronavirus vaccine to be approved for use in India amid a deadly second wave of infections. Sputnik 5 has been deemed to be safe and works in a way similar to the Oxford AstraZeneca jab, which is being made in India as Covishield. Purity Museo, Channel 1 News. Let's now revisit our top story. County governments are set to receive for the first time the largest allocation in the county equitable share after the Senate passed the Division of Revenue Bill. In a special sitting on Tuesday, senators adopted amendments proposed in a report of the Finance and Budget Committee that will see counties' share raised by a whopping 53.5 billion shillings to 370 billion shillings last year. The Senate was at a crossroad over the revenue allocation formula that would have seen some counties gaining while others losing resources before they settled on a win-win formula.
A special sitting Tuesday afternoon saw senators pass the much-awaited Division of Revenue Bill, setting a new record in the county equitable share 7 years since devolution came into effect.
For the first time since I joined this House, we have passed a division of revenue without acrimony and without fighting with the National Assembly or without fighting with the executive. Madam Speaker, we have succeeded to increase the equitable share from 316 to 370 billion, a 17% increment.
And so at 370, and actually collectively, together with the conditional grants at 409.88 billion, that's a very big win for devolution.
Senators who unanimously approved the bill that also complied to a ruling in the High Court that conditional grants are not provided for in the Division of Revenue Bill, but from the national government's share, say their prolonged fight to have county allocation improved has paid off.
It must go to the books, to the annals of history, that we achieved these 370 billion after a very protracted fight that, Madam Speaker, kept us in this House for almost 3 to 4 months, continuously negotiating.
For my county of Taita Taveta, we are getting a DORA, or shareable revenue, increase from 4.2 billion to 4.8 billion, an increment of 600 million. That is money that would go to development of Taita Taveta.
With more monies now set to go to the devolved units, senators are warning against misuse of funds.
The increase of 53.3B should not be in vain. It should translate to service delivery to the people.
Reduce cases of pilferage, as much as we have been told time immemorial that 30% of our budget always goes to pilferage or corruption.
The amount of 2 billion shillings being spent every day, that type of leakage, if your house was leaking to like 2 billion shillings, that is a whole month's rain. Yeah? It is a flood, it is a tsunami.
As we pass this bill, I want to encourage counties to continue putting more emphasis on raising on-source revenue.
Also, the delay in disbursement of funds to counties by Treasury is still a headache.
Under Article 219 of the Constitution, it is very clear this issue of late disbursement to counties is an elephant in the room.
Madam Speaker, we are not requesting. I think we should be directing that the National Treasury must be bound and guided by the rule of law in terms of exchequer releases to county governments for proper execution of projects.
With about 2 months to the start of the next financial year, county bosses may need to strategize on how to prudently utilize the resources even as they celebrate. Kamche Menza for Channel 1 News.
And you're watching Channel 1 News this Tuesday night. Many thanks for staying with us. Keep talking to us. Tell us where you tuned in from. I'll be going through your feedback during and before the till end of this bulletin. We take our first commercial break. Don't go too far. We still have plenty more to come.
Je, umeomoka? Kama hujaomoka kwenye Quickbin ndio mambo yote. Hapa tuko na fridge, kodi yake ni CM. Tuko na gas cooker, kodi yake ni CK. Tuko na TV, kodi yake ni TV. Tuko na simu aina ya Samsung ni SM, ama Oppo ni Oppo. My friend, mahali popote unanitazama, eka hizo kodi zake kisha utume kwa 4032353. 4032353. Alafu utakuwa unaomoka na hizi bidhaa. Kumbuka kwenye Quickbin ni bila bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini.
Next M.
Mke wangu mimi napata contract kwa mzee tu kufanya stage show.
Stage show?
Stage show. Stage show kutengeneza makabati ya kocha vyombo.
Kwenda na nini wewe?
Nilikuwa nakusikiliza kondoa fundi kidogo.
Kwa shida yako nini?
Mpangaji wenu yule? Ni mpangaji wetu. Nataka rumu ile. Basi mimi ninakosea nina nini?
Bwana sielewi ya mambo jamani. Mama bunja huku. Ni mtu gani mnaletea? Kundi gani huyu? Anaingia kwangu bila adabu. Ndio huyu mnaletea. Hebu toka hapa kwanza. Ndio anaonekana huku. Mbona mnaletea hana adabu?
Next M.
I'm in your corner, friend. I'm in your corner. When you need someone around, you
Thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching News Hour, and Anwar Ngeshi is a sign language interpreter. Now, Muslims around the world have begun observing the holy month of Ramadan under tight restrictions for the second consecutive year due to COVID-19 pandemic that has affected many countries. In Kenya, faithful in the 5 counties affected by a partial lockdown will have a unique Ramadan season due to the stringent measures undertaken by the government to curb the third wave of COVID-19. The start of the holy month is determined by the sighting of the new moon.
As Muslims begin observing the holy month of Ramadan, traditionally a time of dawn to dusk fasting, festivities and communal prayer, an unprecedented global pandemic is changing the celebration for the second year in equally unprecedented ways. Muslims faithfuls within 5 counties that are under partial lockdown will not participate fully in many Ramadan's rituals and traditions this year. Prayers and celebrations will be done in the homes of Muslims faithful instead of mosques. All-night prayers, also known as Tarawih, will be performed before the curfew hours.
Nahimiza watu wetu kwamba wachukue nidhamu kulingana na desturi ambayo iliyoko na Wizara ya Afya. Kwa sababu zamani huwa tunajazana misikiti, lakini sasa imepungua kidogo.
Migori Council of Imams Chair Sheikh Ali Mohammed Yusuf says all-night prayers will end early enough to allow enough time for worshippers to get home on time.
Fahamu kafi inakwisha saa 4 sehemu kama hii yetu, kaunti zetu za huku. Kwa hivyo sala ya Tarawih itaanza saa 2:30, itakwisha saa 3:25 ama 20. Kwa hivyo kufika saa 3:30 misikiti zote za kaunti za Migori zinatakikana zifungwe. Na jana naona Mombasa pia mashekhe wameelekeza.
Chief Kadhi Sheikh Ahmed Muhdar urged the able Muslim community and charitable institutions to assist the needy even as they observe the holy month.
Swala la watu kusaidiana na kuhurumiana, ili ni jambo la lazima la kawaida throughout the year. Mwaka mzima tunatakiwa tuwe tunasaidiana, tunawasaidia wale ndugu zetu ambao hawana uwezo wa kutosha, ama wako na ugonjwa, ama wamekumbana na balaa. Kwa hivyo tunaomba wale wanaojiweza wawasaidie wale ambao hawajiwezi.
Meanwhile, a host of local political leaders have sent messages of goodwill to the Muslim community. Deputy President William Ruto called on the faithfuls to pray for the country and the world and observe all protocols put in place to prevent spread of COVID-19.
Na wahusia muombee watoto wetu, familia zetu na taifa letu, ili tupate rehema na thawabu za Mwenyezi Mungu. Mtuombee sisi viongozi wa matabaka yote, ili tutambue na tuyatekeleze mapenzi ya Mungu kwa taifa letu, na pia Mungu atunusuru Wakenya wote kutoka kwa maovu.
Orange Democratic Movement leader Raila Odinga and his Amani National Congress counterpart ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi also sent their well wishes as Muslims commence the holy month of Ramadan. Meanwhile, at least 3,200 people from needy Muslim households in the drought-stricken parts of Isiolo County have begun receiving relief food donations. Isiolo County Secretary Dr. Ahmed Galgalo, who flagged off lorries that will transport the foodstuffs, called on members to help the underprivileged in the community during these harsh economic times.
Wakati yetu sasa kusimama na wale wenzetu ambaye hawajiwezi kifedha, tusimame na hawa, tufanye sadaka iwe mingi kwa hii mwezi. Ni wakati ya kuhakikisha kwamba tunapata thawabu mingi kutoka kwa Mwenyezi Mungu.
Now, today, President Uhuru Kenyatta met Somali community elders from Garissa County who paid him a visit at State House, Nairobi. The head of state and the elders discussed several national and regional matters, among them the progress of government development projects in the region. The president was introduced at the same time to the new Garissa Senator Abdul Kadir Mohamed Haji at the meeting, also attended by the head of public service, Dr. Joseph Kinyua, Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukuri Atani and Director of Public Prosecutions Nordin Haji. And still staying in the region, Garissa Senator Abdul Kadir Haji has urged the Senate to step up its oversight mandate to ensure utilization of resources allocated to the counties impact the lives of people at the grassroots. In his maiden speech after being sworn in, Haji challenged the House to boldly condemn corruption that has bedeviled development projects in the devolved units. The new senator was endorsed and opposed for the seat after the death of his father, Yusuf Haji.
With big shoes to fit into left by his father, the late Garissa Senator Yusuf Haji, Abdul Kadir Mohammed Haji, known for his heroic acts during the Westgate attack in 2013, took the oath of office in a special sitting attended by most of the senators.
Haji Abdul Kadir Mohammed, having been elected a member of the Senate, do swear in the name of the Almighty God.
Haji became the second legislator in the bicameral parliament to be elected unopposed after Kikuyu Member of Parliament Kimani Ichung'wah. Haji called on the Senate to show empathy in its oversight mandate and make sure devolved units get value for money.
The Constitution empowers us to represent the interests of the counties and their governments. And in this, I read that the debates and decisions we make, especially during these challenging times, must be empathetic to the people we represent in those counties. We must show empathy by being creative in how we make sure that the resources we oversight for our counties create a much needed relief for our people.
Senator Haji underscoring the need for the House to help create job opportunities for youths.
They are also asking me to figure out a way in which we can help expand the scope of opportunities for them. Many are grappling with unemployment and underemployment. During this COVID pandemic period and post-COVID, we will be entering an age where work and jobs will be more fundamentally disrupted than at any point in the history of our country.
He used the occasion to reflect on the life and times of his late father, Senator Yusuf Haji, describing him as a man who worked hard and was devoted on improving the livelihoods of citizens in all capacities he served in.
I remember one time I asked my mother, "Why does Dad work so much?" She looked at me and said, "All fathers work hard. All fathers work a lot." I didn't realize it then, but that was one of the biggest lessons I learned from my father, the value of hard work. He woke up every day, put on his shoes, and went to work. Even when he was unwell, he would get up and go to work.
In their welcoming speech to the House, senators described the newest member of the Senate as a hero, urging him to embrace the role with vigor.
He's not just a senator for Garissa County. I want to encourage you, Senator Haji, that you represent the whole of Kenya in this august house. Just like on that day at Westgate, you went there to protect every life, irrespective of tribe, race, or status.
You are not new to the politics and also campaign. You have been a public servant. You are up to task. You must steer the people of Garissa to the next level.
We knew Yusuf Haji as the PC, and sometimes we joked when he was here, and I said, "My boss, the PC," because that is who he was. He was a man of peace. He was a man of integrity.
Abdul Kadir Mohammed Haji becomes the second senator of Garissa County. Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
To more politics, Orange Democratic Movement Party Migori branch officials have given Governor Okoth Obado a 7-day ultimatum to resign, saying they have commenced the process of expunging his name from the party's list of registered members. The branch officials say the recent proclamation by Obado that he had joined a rival party while still a registered member of the Orange Party contravenes the Political Parties Act and should not be condoned.
Awendo branch
The decision by Migori Governor Okoth Obado to rejoin the People's Democratic Party PDP seemed to have irked the Orange Democratic Movement Migori branch officials, who are now demanding that he tenders his resignation. The official blamed the top ODM top brass for meddling with the grassroots affairs, saying it's not the first time they are recommending penalties against the governor.
If he fails to step down, the county leadership shall recommend to the national leadership to process of his removal under Chapter 5, Article 5.4.1 of the party ODM Constitution.
Namwambia akome na atoke chama cha ODM kama anataka. Chama cha ODM, sisi kama MCA wa Migori tunasema tuko gangari.
Suna West Member of Parliament Peter Masara scoffed off Obado's new political affiliation, saying it will have no impact on the political landscape in the region.
PDP. He has been a member of PDP from 2013. What they need to tell us now is what they have done with their party. They have been given resources from the national government to the tune of, by now for 10 or 9 years, it is close to almost 60 billion. Let them account for what they have done to the people of Migori. We were not worried about PDP.
Meanwhile, Matungu Member of Parliament Peter Nabolindo has thrown his support behind the One Kenya Alliance, saying it has what it takes to form the next government. The lawmaker called on other like-minded leaders to support the coalition ahead of next year's general election.
Actually, I believe that Matungu was the arena of this unity. They found a reason to be together. And since they found that reason to be together, and it's a good reason, they will continue being together as we progress even in the future.
Elsewhere, the Kericho County Assembly's Appointments Committee on Tuesday vetted Deputy Governor nominee Lily Ngok at the Assembly's chambers. Ngok had a difficult time answering questions from the panel, especially on the county government flagship projects. The Education CEC was nominated for the position by Kericho Governor Paul Chepkwony 2 weeks ago, following the demise of Deputy Governor Susan Kikwai. Suleimanieri, Channel 1 News.
Moving on, Kenyans have been warned against taking the law into their hands following stoning of a suspected thief in Embu West sub-county. A group of angry border operators descended on a man accusing him of being behind a spate of motorcycle theft in the area. The police, however, saved the suspect from lynching by the mob.
A suspected thief escaped death by a whisker after police in Embu West sub-county saved him from a lynch mob. The man had earlier been clobbered to a pulp by the irate border operators and was just about to be set ablaze before the police came to his rescue.
Na nipenye unapata mpaka vifo zimeanza kuwa juu za watu wa pikipiki, sababu ukiibua pikipiki labda ule mtu anakujua kumaanisha labda ni rafiki yako, anaacha amekuua. Lakini sasa tukipata mtu mmoja mwenye tunaweza kamata, kabla aongee unakuta wengine wamekuja na mawe, wengine wamekuja na petroli wanataka kumchoma.
Police had earlier thought that the man had been beaten to death. Following the incident, Kenyans have been warned against taking the law into their own hands. Embu West Deputy Sub-County Police Commander Samuel Gitau says investigation has been launched into the matter. Meanwhile, a fresh standoff has emerged over the construction of the 24 billion shillings Karimenu 2 dam water project in Gatundu North, Kiambu County. On Tuesday, locals ejected the contractor from the site, alleging that they are yet to be compensated for the piece of land.
Tukaambiwa ikifika mwisho wa mwezi wa 3 tutalipwa. Na mwezi wa 3 umefika, sasa ni mwezi wa 4 inaelekea kuisha, hatujaona kitu.
Tuko na miezi 6 na hiyo makaratasi kwa nyumba. Sasa tumeamua kufuga kazi kwa sababu badala ya kutulipa pesa wanakuja kuchukua masaba pale, wanapea watu 50,000 ati wachukue mchanga ya kujenga ukuta.
Sasa imesimama kabisa na itasimama, itaendelea kusimama hata kama ni mwaka mzima mpaka kila mtu alipwe.
Meanwhile, a family in Kitui is seeking justice after their 11-year-old son was allegedly injured by a teacher at Kisayani Primary School. The family says the boy had his hand broken by the teacher for allegedly touching her car alarm. The family further says attempts to pursue justice through the local administration has proven futile.
Hii kesi niliripoti kwa Zambani police station, hawakunisaidia. Kutoka hapo nikaenda Zambani sub county, sikusaidika. Nikatoka hapo tena nikaenda kwa county direct.